Welcome in, everyone. I hope you guys, as always, are having a great day wherever you happen to be listening to. We have a pretty wild topic today, and that is all these rumors, reports, speculation that the United States has already struck Iran or that we're going to strike Iran very soon in the immediate future. We're going to dig apart what's true, what's false, and what is just frankly fake news. There's no other way to say it. Before we do, as always, please make sure to like and subscribe, comment with your thoughts below, and now let's get into it. So there has been escalating tension with Iran since Trump essentially returned to office. There was obviously tension with him during his first term when he killed Soleimani when he was visiting Iraq. Soleimani was viewed as the second most powerful person in Iran at the time of his death. Terrible, terrible person. The world certainly doesn't miss him. Trump returns to office, takes action against the Houthis, who are obviously backed by the Iranian regime, backed, armed, financed, all that stuff as they export their terror around the world. And there's been a lot of saber rattling on both sides. The U.S. has said to the Iranians that essentially we will take you out if you don't do a nuclear deal. The Iranians have threatened strikes all over the region and so forth and so forth. So that's kind of the backdrop. There's long been speculation. I've made videos about it before that we could hit the nuclear sites, all this stuff. Then, out of nowhere, social media erupts on Monday night, which would have been Monday, March 17th. Social media erupts with all these claims about war with Iran and things that were allegedly happening, and we're going to get into that right now. So it all started with this tweet that I'm going to put up on the screen right now for you. This comes from someone named Dr. Eli David. Great last name, obviously my first name. I have to admit, I did not know who this person was. I still don't know who this person is. They're described as an AI researcher, lecturer, entrepreneur, investor, top 100 most influential X accounts. All opinions are my own. So this tweet of the aircraft carriers, it says, breaking, 3 U.S. aircraft carriers approaching Iran. Massive FAFO coming soon, and it's a picture of a bunch of carriers. And there's a community note right underneath it that says this is unsubstantiated. At the time of writing, there has been no announcement that carriers are being deployed for Iran. The USNI Fleet Tracker's March 17th report has no mention of such a deployment, noting only that 2 carriers have left Norfolk in recent days. That tweet, as of this video being filmed, has 2.2 million views of him just declaring that the U.S. is sending aircraft carriers to Iran and hinting, subtly saying whatever with the FAFO that there is a strike coming against Iran. No proof of that. Not true. There have been no fleet deployments to battle Iran. There are carriers in the region who are fighting the Houthis and targeting the Houthis. There is nothing to suggest any of that is true, but that didn't stop it from going mega viral. And it doesn't stop there. This is another tweet that I'll throw up on the screen right now that was sent. Let's see how much longer he sent it. About an hour and a half, I think. Yeah, a little more than an hour and a half later, he sends this tweet. Breaking. Unconfirmed reports that Iran's Zagros spy ship, the most advanced vessel in Iran's Navy, was targeted and sunk in the Red Sea. As of this video being made, that tweet has 3.4 million views. So he's got millions and millions and millions and millions of views on these tweets. And for the record, there is nothing to suggest that the United States sunk, bombed, whatever, an Iranian spy vessel. This was sent on the night of March 17th. I'm filming this March 18th. If this had happened, we would have known about it by now. That's just a fact. There's no way the world could have kept it covered up that the United States was at war with Iran. We were taking their ships out. We deployed tens of thousands of sailors and multiple carrier fleet groups. It's fiction. There's no other way to say it. It's complete fiction. And this guy spread these tweets and had people convinced that we were at war with Iran. But it gets a little more interesting from there because someone else weighed in, a U.S. congressman. Let's talk about that right now. Following those tweets going viral, Congressman Thomas Massie, a Republican from Kentucky, he tweets, and I'll put it again up on the screen for you, he tweets, Constitutional PSA. To strike Iran requires a vote of Congress because it's an act of war, which, by the way, I'm not an expert on the law or any of that, but generally speaking, yeah, if you're going to launch a war, you need the authorization for use of military force. You need to declare war. Congress has a role in that. So then he sent that tweet at 6:08. So right around all the time this stuff's going on. And that really, again, sends things off to the races because now this isn't just some guy on the internet that most people have never heard of. No offense to Eli David, even though he was sharing fake news. This is a sitting member of Congress tweeting about how there needs to be a vote before any potential attack on Iran. That in of itself, again, adds more fuel to the flames, gets people really confused as to what is going on. But again, we need to be clear here. There were no attacks on Iran. There were no ships sunk. There are no carrier fleets steaming towards Iran to bomb them or their nuclear facilities as of right now. Now, obviously, things can change, but that's just not true. Then Thomas Massie comes out and, gives people a little lesson in the Constitution. But the timing of it all was all very, very, very strange. But the short answer is all these rumors you heard online were not true as of the time they were made. They were simply fake news, lies, call them whatever you want, not true. Having said that, what would a war with Iran actually look like? Let's discuss that. I think a lot of people out there believe that a war with Iran would be a cakewalk. And I cannot stress to you enough how wrong that is. Number one, it's a mountainous country. Fighting in the mountains, as we've seen over and over again throughout history, is not easy. It is also a country that has a large standing military. Now, outdated, old gear, poorly trained, poorly fed, all of that is true. No question about it. So, you got to look at it two ways. Does the United States have the ability to go in and crush the Iranian regime, kill its leaders, wipe out its military, decapitation-style strike, blow up its nuclear facilities? We've done videos on that before as well. And the answer to that is yes. We absolutely have the ability to do that. Now, does that mean it's going to be easy? It would be brutal. It would be brutal. There were some estimates when they war gamed a situation against Iran in the early 2000s, I believe, that the U.S. could lose 2 carriers in the first day of fighting. Now, again, when you war game something, you give the bad guys every advantage possible because you want to make it as difficult on yourself as you can. But the reality is this. It would be much more difficult than Iraq. Much more difficult than Iraq. Iran's military is more advanced than what Iraq's was at the time. They have the terrain would make it incredibly, incredibly difficult. Some people argue that it would start a world war. I don't believe that. I don't think China and Russia are going to flood in and save the Iranians in the event of a U.S. strike. And quite frankly, if we knock out their nuclear facilities, there's no guarantee they're going to retaliate anyways. We killed the second most powerful man in the country, and they lobbed some missiles into Iraq that didn't kill anyone in return. So we have to go into situations eyes wide open. Does the United States have the ability to overthrow the Iranian regime? The short answer to that is yes. Do we have the ability to take out their nuclear program? We're probably the only country in the world that has the ability to take out their nuclear program. There's some people that argue about, can Israel do it? But as we've talked about, if you're going to go non-nuke, there's only a few different bombs you can use, and those bombs can only be dropped by American bombers. So that's the fact of the matter. We could do it. It would be brutality unlike anything we saw in the GWOT. That's just the fact of the matter. So all these people out there talking on social media about how it's just going to be a cupcake walk into Tehran, I'd encourage you all to read a history book. It doesn't, and I'm not weighing in on the politics of the action either way, but it would spiral out of control fast. You would see casualties on all sides mount. Our regional allies would almost certainly also get attacked. So be aware of that before you just claim it would be an easy war, because war is never easy, as we have found out time and time again. In closing, the rumors were all true. People were spreading fake news. Welcome to the internet. Comment with your thoughts below. Make sure to like and subscribe. I'll see y'all next time.